Hello, welcome back to my channel. My name is Richard. Hello. And today I'm going to do cold bluing on a few objects. And cold bluing is a black oxide coating that holds a thin film of oil and prevents rust. This is the cutting head out of my joiner, which was rusted up pretty good, as well as this part you'll probably recognize from the previous video. So today I'm going to use a cold bluing solution, in this case birchwood, Casey, Presto Mag, liquid gun blue, not a sponsor, not complaining, but not a sponsor, and a nice cotton rag. This stuff works pretty easy. I'm not going to make any real effort to do inside the slots where the blades go, because I don't see that as a problem. As you can see, the color is changing. And when done, you wipe this dry, otherwise it will get a flash rust to it. All iron products do. And then you wipe on a thin coat of 3-in-1 oil. 3-in-1, not a sponsor, but it's an old favorite for old woodworking tools. And I always keep some on hand. Though I don't like the new bottles, I like the old cans. I sent off to have a bottle, actually 2 bottles shipped, and they leaked. Yes, I'm not really real big on that. The old metal cans, you couldn't beat them. So when they sent me the second set, they realized there's a problem, and they put the bottles in plastic bags. Now, mind you, once you touch this to metal, you do not want to touch the inside of that with your rag. You will contaminate the rest of the batch. So always have a little intermediate step. I use cotton swabs only once. And a rag, I always search for a portion that I have not used. A little bit more of this. And you can give it a double coat, and that does help sometimes get a little darker. Also, I decided to file off some of this brutal beating that somebody gave this in the past. Kind of make it a little nicer. Couldn't take it all out, but I took the high spots off. And just give it a nice even rub. Flip it over and get the other side. This will not color the aluminum. Well, it might color it, but maybe a color you don't want. but it does offer a little protection, or a little protection that does with a gun barrel. You can use this stuff. You got a scratch gun, and you can bring the finish back out. Just be careful. Let me wipe this down with a dry cloth. And that one is done. Now for the smaller areas, like in here, guess that's not the aluminum I thought it was. Probably some I ran this through my tumbler from Harbor Freight, not a sponsor. And took most of the crust off it and then gave it a ride through the blast cabinet. Everything here took a ride through the blast cabinet and tumbler. And this just prevents a rust flare-up. Though I don't plan on leaving it outside like the previous owner did. I have some sympathy for the tool. But as you can see, I'm slowly working this in. Getting the edge too. Tomorrow, bright and early, before the sun starts to scorch this place, I'm in Oklahoma, and the sun can be quite cruel here. I kind of overdid it this evening while I was out in the garage with the blast cabinet, and come back in a little sick. So I turned up the AC and took a nap and woke up feeling good again. When you're old, the heat takes a toll on you. And might even do a little worse than that if you stay out there long enough in it. Anyway, give this a dose and hope it doesn't rust up as much as it did the first time. I had to knock this out with a hammer. It was actually the back end of a ratchet, but it wasn't willing to come out. Without a little bit of persuasion. Didn't take a lot, but if it had been in there any longer, another season or two, it might have been a problem. Okay, now take a rag and do the front surface. A little bit more. Always wash your hands when you're done with this kind of thing. I don't imagine it tastes good on your next sandwich, so why try? And I will dry these thoroughly and apply a little 3-in-1 with another rag. I did discover what was in this thing. It's some form of epoxy, and I'm not taking it all out. Now it's falling out. But I have to make the guard for this, or try to buy one, and trying to buy one is probably not going to happen, because last time I saw one it was $50 plus shipping, and I haven't seen one since. I do notice that there are a number of these machines out there, these 4-inch joiners, and they're missing the blade guard. So I think that's somebody has taken it off once and set it aside, and somebody didn't know what it was and threw it away. And that's how this stuff happens. Let me go in this way. And there you go. Here's the next piece of the puzzle. And that leaves me with the final piece, just the bar. And for that I will saturate a rag and go after it. I'll find me another piece of this rag. Saturate it good. And there you go. I was going to polish this, but I figured, yeah, if I polish this really nice and had it out there, it'd surely start oxidizing, rusting right away. So I figured this was probably the best course of action, much as I like polished metals. From polished wheels, polished stainless. Hey. But then you got to face the reality that the shop might get a little bit humid, being that it's not climate controlled, and that could be an issue. So I opted to do this, and I'm going to even do the top of the bolts, even though they're not seen. It affords them a little bit of protection, because everything I pulled out of this thing was rusty when I took it apart. Let's give these a little fine touch here. Another bit of this rag that hasn't been used yet. Give some areas of this another dose. Yeah, let me dry this with a clean rag. Clean, dry rag. And there it is. This is the spacer that goes between the bearing and the pulley on the outside. This is the spring return for the guard. And this is the bar that holds the fence. And tomorrow I'm going to start assembling this mess and try to make a joiner back out of it. Thank you for watching.